Alright, so right here I have two different types of door handles that I bought. These are the ones from Low Range. And these are from eBay. They're both metal door handles. These are the aluminum ones from Low Range Off-Road. But I'll show you the differences. Okay, the biggest difference is these come with the bracket on the back. These are the ones from eBay. And the other ones don't come with that. Okay, these are aluminum. So it's pretty thick, you know. It looks like a pretty good finish on it. Low Range Off-Road. I think these are I actually like that part better. Another big difference is that these handles that don't have the bracket are $55 versus $19 for this pair of handles that have the mounting bracket. These are the ones from eBay, and the others are from Low Range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and install these since they already have the bracket, and then I'm going to take these Low Range handles and try to see how hard it is to install them on the factory brackets. I know this isn't a factory door panel, but the main point is to really just talk about the door handle itself, but this part's the same. You have to take off this little strap that holds the door from opening too far. Take the door handle off. Take this thing off. Get the door handle out. Take a rag, go behind it. Just go like that. The clip will come out. This little clip. Alright, so if this was a factory door panel, it's going to have a clip right there where these screws are. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top, and 4 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wow. Oh yeah, okay, 1 in the middle. So I'm just going to take these out with the screwdriver. See, if you had the stock panel, you just want to get something that's skinny enough to slide in there that can kind of like grab it. Something that's kind of flat, and just pry them up so you don't rip it. Okay, it might be a little bit hard to see, but you have the red clip right there. All you have to do is squeeze it and push the rod out of the handle. Then you have two 10mm bolts that hold the handle onto the door. Now you can take out these two 10mm bolts. And the door handle comes off. Okay, let's see how good of a fit these new ones are. That's weird. You might want to put tape on the back if you have a nice paint job or something, because I probably just scratched the paint. Just a door handle. It doesn't need to be that tight, but go ahead and tighten it with the ratchet. Okay, so right here I ran into the problem. The door handle kind of binds or rubs against something, and I did go ahead and tighten and loosen it in different positions to try to make sure that it wasn't just the way it was tightened down, but we definitely have a problem here. And this is what's happening. And I'm holding that little rod back to make sure it's not interfering with it. Meanwhile, it's probably scraping that little edge right. That's where it's scraping, right in here. You know, luckily, like, I'm gonna end up messing with the paint on this anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. But if that would have been like a new paint job, this would potentially cause you to scratch it like right off the bat. Okay, you can't really see that much, but that's where it was rubbing. Apparently the old one rubbed there too. Maybe my door's bent or something. Don't need to jump up to conclusions and badmouth these yet, but The door actually does look like it might be bent, but it was rubbing right here. But it was rubbing right inside here against there. But like I said, there's already rust here, and apparently the old one was rubbing there too. Okay, so I went ahead and got the passenger side door, stuck the handle in there. And the same thing. I'm probably scratching my door real bad, but that's okay. It has bad paint. It's really not okay, but don't worry about my door. Worry about your door whenever you do this, because that's part of the reason why I make YouTube videos, is because this is like a real life scenario. You think you're just going to throw them in there. It's really not a huge deal anyway, but maybe this could help prevent somebody from scratching their door when they just throw it in there and go wham, 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 and then now they chip their paint or something. Like I said, don't worry about my paint. Worry about your paint. But yeah, it's really, it's really unprofessional to scratch stuff up. So but you can see it does. The rod's not touching it. It's wedged back there. Okay, so those were the handles. These handles that I just put on there that rubbed. These are the ones from eBay that cost $20 for the set, that are metal, that have the bracket and everything on them, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the factory metal bracket part and I'm going to mount this aluminum handle to it from Low Range Off-Road. And then I'm going to see how it works. So the way to take these out, they have rivets in them. I didn't read the instructions, but I kind of watched somebody do this before. I'm just going to grind the end of that off so that way this will come apart. The Low Range Off-Road supplies you with these screws. I'm just assuming they go in there, and the new red clip. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that. See, I ground the little flattened part off of it, and it pulled out. Actually, it wasn't that hard to get out, but it wasn't that easy either. Oh yeah, before you let it all fall apart, remember where the springs are. You're just going to have to see the spring goes through the little hole, and it rides on the back part of that. Just take a mental note of that before everything comes apart. See, I'd already ground the other side off. Now it's apart. This is actually surprisingly difficult. I went ahead and read the instructions. These springs are actually different. They look the same, but they're opposite. So the part where, when it flexes, you can see where it was rubbing, it actually makes the spring smaller, like it coils it in. If you put them the other way, it'll coil it out, like unravel it. Not sure how important that is, but let's just put it back how it was. I've seen the instructions, so if you take the handle, this part rides it, if it sits in there like this. So now you got to get the springs in. And what you do is you take the screw, put it in this way, and then this little nylon nut that's not threaded goes, threads onto the end. Surprisingly difficult little task. I know that was bad that I just switched it up on you. But either way, same thing applies. It needs to be squishing the spring smaller so it goes in there like this. Get the screw, put it through the hole. I made that look harder than it is. You just stick the spring in there like that. And now I'm taking the nylon nut and just kind of squish it on there as hard as I can with my fingers, so that way it'll just kind of stay in place and won't fall apart. It's going to be kind of hard to get that, make sure that thread's in there straight. Take the other spring and just kind of squish it in there. It's not really that easy, but you just kind of gotta finesse it in there, and it'll go in. Put the screw in. And try to get the nut on there. And tighten them. I tighten the screws up enough to where it takes all the slack out, but the handle still moves freely. Now you can install the little red clip. Brand new door handle. Now it's time to go ahead and put it back in the door and see what it does. Surprisingly, you don't even have to wiggle it in, it goes right in. And surprisingly, something you can expect from Low Range Off-Road. They make really good stuff, and look. The handle does not rub the door at all. It actually has like a gap about, I don't know, like a 10,000th gap or something. Enough to where you can see through it on the other side. I don't know if you can tell, but it does not. It doesn't rub. So now to make sure you don't let that spin, I kept track of it. Now to put this in, all you got to do is just push it through. And it clips in place. Before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and go test this out on the thing to make sure it works. I don't see why it wouldn't. But also I didn't see why those other door panels wouldn't fit. Okay, here's a long range off-road handle. No, it didn't have to adjust or nothing. So now it's time to go ahead and close this project off and finish it up. If you have like stock door panels, they just clip in. Mine have these special space age screws. Alright, there's no point in me putting every last screw in at the moment. To put the window crank back on, you put the clip down like this way. I think it could go on either way, but this is the way you remember it. So whenever you go to take it off, remember it pulls down this way. And supposedly when the window's up, it's supposed to be pointing up. I know it could go on anyway, but I mean for some reason I think it's supposed to go like that. I guess so whenever you get a good starting point or something, I don't know. Yeah, that's on there. Oh, my window regulator might be bad or something. There's a lot of slack in it. Probably from all that dirt I get in the window. I mean, get inside the door. You can put your handle back on. I would tighten these more later, but for now, snug them. This thing goes back on, just slide it in place and put the little screw in it. Now this thing, okay, so what I'm going to do now with this, I'm missing a handle. I still don't have a handle. Okay, so I have my driver's door fixed. This is my passenger door. I put this in here, I hold it open. I scribe me a little line of how much I'm going to take off where it was rubbing. And I'm going to try to take this grinder and grind that out to where it won't rub. And then I'm going to skip all that and put it straight on the door and see where it goes. If that doesn't work, I might cut this handle off and put the other low range off-road handle. I know they're going to be mismatched, but they're both still black. I don't think anybody will be able to tell. So there it goes. Kind of marked it up a lot, but whatever. Let's see how this works. Go ahead and slide the custom handle in. Okay, now we can see it's rubbing at this corner. It's rubbing right there. So much for, I know I'm kind of ruining it, but I mean I could just spray them again, but now it's rubbing right there. But if I got rid of that, now it has clearance right here, it has clearance there, now it's touching there. When I get rid of that, it's going to be fine. And there you have it. Took a little bit more off. It's still barely touching. But I think it's going to be alright. Here's the other handle. And I adjusted it, like it still needs to be, it's way out of adjustment. Like in other words, you can't adjust it far enough. So I have it ran all the way up. And it's hitting inside here. So if you really try, it might open. But I probably literally just bent the door, or probably almost broke the handle. And that's the adjustment I'm talking about. See, I have it way up there. It started out down here and it's not pushing the rod down far enough. But I'm tired of messing with it, and I at least got my other door working. So I'm good for now. Okay, here's a long range off-road handle. No, didn't have to adjust it or nothing. Moral of the story, you get what you pay for. $55 for two handles that don't even have the bracket that bolts on. But it fit perfect, and it has a better finish. It actually has a real nice finish on it that looks kind of like bed liner or powder coat or something. I'm pretty sure it's gonna last. It seems like it has a good finish on it. Fit perfect. This one, on the other hand, you see the problems I'm having with it. They're a lot cheaper, but I made the mistake of throwing away my passenger side door handle, the whole thing, the bracket. I didn't know about that. So the next question is whether or not you could use this metal bracket part from the eBay door handle and mount one of these on it and have it work good. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to try to get that other door handle to work, but I think it can work. It's just it needs to be clearance more. What it's doing is it's rubbing, and it's not letting the handle go up all the way. Even though I ground out a lot of it or some of it. I mean, I really wish they would just make this with the whole bracket assembly thing on it. I mean, I would pay $100 after knowing what I do now. If they made this for $100, I'd pay that for two door handles. I do think these are pricey, but I mean, it's a nice, a nice piece, a nice part. we'll see how it goes. I'll make an update on that door handle that was giving me trouble. But at least I've accomplished my goal. I have one working door now. And for anybody that's interested in the near future, I'm going to be doing like making my own bumper ends for my winch plate. So I bought this steel cutting blade for my skill saw. We're going to see how that works. But I'm going to have to wrap this video up now. That's about all I have for today.